The Indian military has wanted them for years, but the huge price tag on this capability has made them elusive so far. But here on 5 Live, I'm here to tell you that a deal is finally in sight to procure 30 advanced Predator drones, the armed variety, from the United States. It's an enormous deal, one of the biggest in Indo-US defense contracting history, and it will be a game changer. The question now is, when will these drones be here? How will they change the game? And is it all going to be worth it? Take a look. This is the Sea Guardian, a US-built advanced drone. Built for long-endurance reconnaissance, the Sea Guardian is a derivative of the legendary Predator drone. And like the Predator, the Sea Guardian can fire weapons if required. The Indian Armed Forces have been looking to acquire drones like these for years. And now, after all this time, finally, a 22,500 crore rupee deal is on the threshold of clearance for India to acquire 30 of these drones. 10 each for the Air Force, the Indian Navy and the Indian Army. But while deliveries are still a while off, the Indian Navy has already spent the last year familiarizing itself with these drones. Since November last year, 2 Sea Guardian drones have been operating from this Indian Navy air station in Tamil Nadu, the same base that hosts the Indian Navy's P-8I submarine hunter jets. From this base, the 2 Sea Guardians have been flying surveillance missions out over the Bay of Bengal and the larger Indian Ocean. Acquired on lease for a year, first let's tell you how these drones actually work. Each system comprises the drone aircraft itself and the crucial ground control system. Crews in the ground control station handle all aspects of the drone, controlling it via a satellite link. Capable of flying thousands of kilometers away from the ground station, the drone relays real-time images and targeting information. While the Sea Guardians on lease to India are unarmed, the drones being purchased will be fully armed and can be commanded to engage targets and fire at them. Flying at a maximum altitude of up to 40,000 feet and capable of pre-programmed autonomous flight of nearly 2 days, the Sea Guardian employs precision radar and electro-optical sensors to provide detailed imagery and intelligence over wide areas. And their weapons package includes laser-guided bombs, anti-ship missiles, and even anti-tank weaponry. The 20-meter wingspan of these drones, as wide as a cricket pitch, has 9 weapon stations called hardpoints, which can carry 2 tons of electronics and weapons. A high-definition electro-optical infrared sensor can capture still and video images at extended ranges. A synthetic aperture radar can build up pictures of geographical features. A maritime patrol radar can detect targets on the sea surface, and an inverse SAR can detect, image and classify objects such as warships over 300 kilometers away. What's clear is that India doesn't just want surveillance drones, but combat drones capable of hunting and destroying targets from the air.
Rifle.
Often just called the Predator B in reference to the baseline model, the Sea Guardian is a modern version of the Reaper, famous for raining hell on terror targets in Syria, Iraq, and especially in the tribal areas of Pakistan, courtesy the American CIA. The drones to be ordered by India will likely come with Hellfire precision-guided munitions, weapons that are already operational on the Indian Air Force's Apache helicopters. Acquiring combat-proven US drones would also make up for an imbalance caused by China's own deployment of Wingloong 2 combat drones at airfields in Tibet and plans to supply these drones to Pakistan and other countries. If the Ladakh standoff has been a wake-up call, And if India has reacted by actioning a flurry of combat purchases, pushing through the long-pending Sea Guardian deal would easily be the biggest in terms of value and also the most operationally significant. With Sandeep Unithan in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today. Now let's just decode for you India's biggest drone deal and why this deserves your attention, why it's a game changer. Why does India need these Sky Guardian drones, 30 of them at a cost of over 22,000 crores? Now for the Indian Navy, the Sea Guardian drones can detect and track warships at great distances. These drones can deploy sonobuoys to track submarines that are lurking beneath the surface of the water. These drones can also work with the Indian Navy's new Romeo helicopters that are coming in from the US and the existing P-8I submarine hunter and long-range surveillance aircraft. Now for the Indian Army, because remember each of the services will be getting 10 each. For the Army, the Predator drones are capable of precision air-to-ground strikes on targets in China or Pakistan, wherever needed. The drones can track the build-up of troops in real time because of their imaging sensors. And thirdly, they can locate enemy radars and missile sites and attack those also if necessary. Now for the Indian Air Force, which is the primary user of these drones, they will be able to weaken enemy air defenses and also capable of assessing bomb damage after a strike actually happens. Now, let's quickly detail for you the kinds of weapons that the Sky Guardian drones that India is ordering can actually carry. We don't have the exact details of what they will finally carry, but this is what they're capable of carrying. They can carry 2 tons of payload. These are aircraft-sized drones, not those dinky little drones, and can carry 2 tons of weaponry on their hard points. That includes laser-guided bombs like the Hellfire missile. They can carry anti-tank guided missiles, and very importantly, they can also deploy anti-ship missiles when flying over the sea. They can engage and destroy enemy warships. 2 pilot controllers are on the ground controlling all of the action, including the tracking, the targeting and the weapon systems. Now, the Sky Guardian, and 30 of these are about to be ordered by the Indian government at a cost of 22,000 crore rupees. These have a range of a staggering 12,000 kilometers. Just picture that, 12,000 kilometer range is amazing. They can fly at an altitude of 40,000 feet, very, very high. They have a single flight time of in excess of 40 hours, so nearly 2 days of non-stop flying. You can even do the math and decide how useful that is for a country like India that needs to keep eyes on its territories at all times. Each of these drones costs upwards of 700 crores per unit, and we're buying 30 of them. It's a large deal worth over 22,000 crores. Sandeep Unithan, the journalist who has been tracking this story very closely and has recently written a terrific piece in India Today magazine, breaking the first details on this very complicated deal. Sandeep, first off, 30 advanced Predator or Sky Guardian drones are going to be weaponized, and they're going to be ordered by the Indian government. The Ministry of Defense today is basically taking it up to accord it with the final clearance. The first question that a lot of people will be asking is, at over 22,000 crores, is this a deal that's worth it? We're getting 30 of these drones. How much of a game changer are they that they justify this enormous price tag?
Well, Shiv, the enormous price tag, as you put it, is one Sea Guardian or one Sky Guardian is equal to the cost of 2 Sukhoi 30 MKIs. I mean, that's how expensive these drones are. But they come with a kind of a range of capabilities that the armed forces say they absolutely cannot do without. And for that, you have to thank China. Because of what happened in Ladakh last year. This was an ordinary procurement, Shiv, until May 2020. And after May 2020, when the armed forces suddenly realized that they had a frontier of over 4,000 kilometers to keep under surveillance along the LAC and, of course, the Indian Ocean region, that's when the requirement for these platforms was felt. And that's when this case began to be fast-tracked. All these questions that we're talking about the cost and whether it's really worth the price, all of these have been discussed over the last 2 years within the Defense Ministry, that armed forces have had their differences of opinion. primarily the Air Force and the Navy. And the Navy has been the lead service in acquiring this deal. And they've made all the right arguments to support this purchase. And Shiv, this is the first large defense deal that's been done for all the three services.
Yeah.
You know, in the past, drones have been bought in piecemeal packages for each of the three services. Now, this is a very interesting example of how jointmanship really works when it comes to hardware acquisitions. When you have all three services buying the same platforms with minor variations, and looking at common logistics, basing, training, bringing down the larger cost of the deal. The deal was actually supposed to have been worth much, much more, but because of the fact that it's been, jointly negotiated and all these facts like, logistics, basing and training. And the other interesting thing is that the Army and the Air Force drones, which are of the same variant, the Sky Guardian drones, they will be commonly based, and there will be a level of interoperability that we have not seen in any other previous acquisition ship.
Sandeep, you mentioned how the situation with China in Ladakh in many ways kind of accelerated this deal and acted as an enabler to getting things done and putting aside many of the reservations that the Indian system may have had into entering such a large deal, because clearly the Indian military came together and agreed that they need this capability even at this enormous price. Can you paint us a picture of the kinds of missions these drones will be capable of in our current scenario? As you had reported, last year we leased a couple of unarmed Sea Guardian drones which the Indian Navy has been using for long-range surveillance over the Indian Ocean. What about these new armed drones? What kinds of conceivable missions should we be expecting them to be able to perform?
Shiv, when it comes to the missions that these drones can perform, I mean, they're actually unmanned aircraft and not really the kind of drones that we know of. I mean, they are the kind of capabilities that they bring to the table are of an order that you just mentioned. I mean, they are something that we have not had until now. And, whether you're looking at anti-submarine warfare or suppression of enemy air defenses, battle damage assessment, carrying out surgical strikes across the border. I mean, these drones are virtually like Swiss knives. They come with so many capabilities, whether it's, the radars that they carry, the, infrared sensors, the, synthetic aperture radars, the missiles. These are the very cutting edge of US technology that we're getting shipped. And this is one of the reasons that the three services, made common cause and finally went in for this deal, though we might actually question the cost of this and, whether it is at the cost of, our indigenous programs. But given the way things are with China along the LAC, these drones are a must-have, and it's actually being acquired virtually only because of what the Chinese did post May 2020. I mean, it's very specifically being acquired for the northern and the eastern borders and, of course, the larger Indian Ocean region.
Very quickly, final question to you, Sandeep. By when do you think these drones will begin arrive, keeping in view when the deal might be signed?
The deal is going to be, if it's signed this year, you're looking at something like 2026 for all 30 to be delivered. They'll be delivered in tranches over the next 4 or 5 years, and the first drones begin to arrive in about 2 years from the signing of the deal. But we're also given to understand that there could possibly be a fast-track acquisition of drones that are already being produced, and with the United States, they could give it to us in far faster timelines than what have been previously indicated. But so, we're looking at a completion of all deliveries to be completed by 2026.
So you've heard it from the journalist who's been breaking every aspect of this story for the last few years. In a best case scenario, the first of these drones will begin arriving sometime around 2023 perhaps, and the entire deal delivery will be completed by 2026. We look forward to it. We will continue to ask the questions as well. Sandeep, thank you very much for helping us decode this huge drone deal. Sandeep also mentioned the indigenous armed drones program, and that's what many of our viewers will be wondering. We're spending such huge amounts of public money on a foreign system. What about our own capabilities? Why can't can't we build our own armed drones? And where does India stand as far as its own drone programs are concerned? Now, most of our drones have been imported from either Israel and now from the United States. But where does India stand on its own indigenous combat drone programs? Here's a report that answers that question.
With drone warfare proving its lethality and effects in a real conflict this year, you're probably wondering where India's armed drones are and whether there's a plan to deploy them in conflict theatres. Let's answer that question step by step. First up, the Israeli drones you see diving to attack Armenian assets in the 44-day war are called Crore. A loitering suicide drone that is also in service with the Indian Air Force. In fact, the Ladakh standoff has compelled India to place orders for more of this type of weapon. Second, the Indian Air Force is looking to weaponize its unarmed Israeli Heron surveillance drones. The Indian Armed Forces operate nearly 100 Herons, including in Ladakh amidst border tensions. Designated Project Cheetah and said to be worth over 3,000 crore, the Heron arming project will look to give the surveillance drone the ability to carry and fire spice-guided bombs similar to the kind used in the Balakot strikes and Spike anti-armor missiles. A modified version of an Indian air-to-ground strike weapon is also part of the plan. An interesting new Israeli weapon system that could be ordered soon is the Israeli Firefly loitering munition. A helicopter-style mini drone packing a sensor and warhead. Basically, used by infantry teams to hunt down, pinpoint and attack, kamikaze style. These devastating drones have recently been ordered by the Israeli Defense Forces as well, and could find place as a tactical killer drone system for the Indian infantry. Apart from the foreign drones, India is also developing and testing its own Predator-style drone called Rustam 2. This long-endurance surveillance drone took to the air for the first time in 2016 and has since conducted a series of test flights, proving out its flying qualities and ability to follow commands from the ground at great distance. At some point in the future, the Rustam 2 will be weaponized, as confirmed by this official slide from the program team from a decade ago, depicting the Rustam 2 firing a laser-guided weapon. But the actual act of weaponization can only take place once the drone itself is proven beyond all doubt. What we are trying to tell you is the Indian Armed Forces are fully in the picture on the effects of the drone warfare. And even if there have been delays and missteps along the way, armed drones will be deployed by India soon. Bureau Report, India Today.